Story 1. Since I can do it every day, I would take small items to avoid detection. By the time a trend emerges, I would find a way to blame it on the person causing the disturbance. Story 2. I would walk around, pulling people's pants down. An hour later, when time starts up again, hundreds of people would be standing on the street in their underwear. I did this every day. The news began to report on this strange phenomenon. Story 3. Extra hour in the morning before I leave for work. Alternatively, if I can drive, I will complete my commute while time is paused and hope no cars are blocking the entire road. Story 4. Oh, I am wandering around Area 51 and the White House going to find that Fort Knox gold. If I see a sign that says, "Don't enter," I'm entering. Story 5. I will probably spend the first few months figuring out the physics of it. Do particles still flow? Can energy be transferred? How does gravity function? And most importantly, do I have control over when the hour starts? If I snap my fingers, does time stop? Or does it just freeze for me at 11 a.m.? Story 6. Hear me out. I would engage in self-pleasure, and once I reach the peak moment of pleasure, I would freeze time so that I could experience it for a whole hour. However, after further reflection, I realized this is a terrible idea. There is no single moment that feels good. It's the entire sequence of moments that contributes to the experience. Therefore, freezing time for an hour would be ineffective. Story 7. Steal items, possibly. Or political assassinations. I would be lying if I said I had not considered embarrassing people. Story 8. Sleep. Engage in some fantasies. Enjoy nature. And consider exciting opportunities. The possibilities are endless. However, considering it's only an hour, there is no chance of addressing dictators, especially when travel to their countries is restricted. Story 9. Honestly, I would go all out to clean up certain parts of humanity for a few years. Then, I would start robbing the ultra-rich and donate 75% of my earnings to worthy charitable organizations. That would be quite epic, I believe. Story 10. Find a target. Scout a location. Freeze time. Set up the rifle. Fire and leave the area before time unfreezes. The bullet should appear to have come out of nowhere. Begin cleaning up the world. Story 11. I would pause time for an hour once I get home from work in the evening. I will take a shower and put on comfortable clothes. Once the hour is up, I have extra time to make dinner, relax, play video games, or go to bed. Story 12. I would probably use it to sleep an extra hour in the morning and then spend the day regretting it. I would do the same tomorrow. Story 13. I would set it up so that my first snooze froze time, allowing me to snooze for an hour without waking up. Story 14. I would teach myself to paint. I draw like a 2-year-old and I have always been embarrassed by it, but I am always too tired and busy to get started. Story 15. Read, take a short nap, or get ahead on my work. I currently have 2 jobs and not much time for myself. Anything that allows me to relax or rest would be ideal. Story 16. I immediately went to sleep. I realized I should be out there earning money like free grocery shopping. Story 17. It depends on the day, honestly. An extra hour of sleep or additional time to complete a task, or the occasional uninterrupted session. Story 18. If I could choose the hour, it would depend on my mood. Running late for work? Take an hour. One last raid before bed? Take an hour. Someone else took the last Asiago cheese bagel? Take an hour and confront that person. Costco pizza and cookies just came out of the oven? Take an hour and manage to breathe the rest of the day. Story 19. If I see something tragic about to happen and I could prevent it, assuming I could move or manipulate objects while time was frozen, I would act. For example, if someone was stepping into traffic, I could freeze time and pull them back a bit so they don't get hurt. Story 20. On demand or fixed schedule. If on demand, I would probably use it to sleep an extra hour most of the time. The second most common use would be at work, when I need to take a break or have lunch while people schedule meetings over my 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. If on a fixed schedule, I would extend it from 10 p.m. to midnight, as that's when I'm usually most relaxed or having the best time on a night out. However, knowing I have this ability would probably mean I would spend more time on social media, YouTube, podcasts, or online forums and be no more productive than I already am. Story 21. If time freezes, do clocks run? If not, who is measuring the hour? Will I be trapped in an eternal time freeze? Story 22. If I'm especially tired, I might get some extra sleep. However, if someone annoys me, I could stop time and relocate them based on their actions. I might consider taking some items, but having a lot of new possessions would be suspicious. Alternatively, I could become a skilled spy who needs a driver to transport me to locations where I can stop time, sneak in, and steal documents or plant listening devices. Story 23. Get close to some individuals who are causing harm to others right before I freeze time and then confront them for an hour. Story 24. I feel like I need to understand the rules better. Is it the same hour every day, or do I get to choose? Is there a specific rule about having exactly 24 hours to reset? Is this applicable everywhere, or is there a certain radius? Story 25. It's not just an extra hour. It's an hour when time stands still. Are other people, animals, and all other matter frozen? It makes a difference in what you are able to do and not do. Story 26. I would need to move to Washington, D.C. first, but it would be worth it to be able to express my frustration towards any member of the House or Senate. Story 27. Go to places where you aren't supposed to be. I would go to a big city and run across the rooftops. I might also enter a mine shaft or something similar. There are so many restricted areas I want to explore, including Area 51. Story 28. Everyone is suggesting to steal or rob banks. If you are not careful, it will be obvious that you are engaging in illegal activities. But nice attempt, Kash Patel. Story 29. Steal groceries and toiletries. I am a 10-minute walk from a large grocery store and a pharmacy. I could freeze time, walk out my door, go shopping, walk back, and unfreeze once I am inside. I could also get cash if I can figure out how to do that without getting someone else in trouble. Story 30. Specifically for my nights leading to working days, I need to add an extra hour of sleep. I have a 4-day schedule, and the 2 days when I work 12-hour shifts to meet the 40-hour minimum are particularly challenging due to the commute. The total time I'm away from home on those 2 days is around 17 hours each, which leaves me with only about 5 hours of sleep between shifts. An extra hour of sleep would be immensely beneficial. Even if I don't need it for the 2 regular 8-hour days, having that extra sleep will still help me feel better heading in. On my days off, I plan to use that extra hour to extend whatever I'm doing, whether it's drawing, gaming, or hiking. That extra hour can also make up for the typical hour lost during my commute. Story 31. By the comments, this may already be happening, and the person chooses to simply sleep it off each time. Story 32. I would set it up so that my first snooze froze time, allowing me to sleep for an hour without waking up. Story 33. Spend an hour every day trying to find that person who pulls people's pants down and confront him. I might even get my pants pulled down myself. Story 34. The hard part is when to use it. Sitting in the cold void of frozen time for an hour sounds blissful. Story 35. I would probably use it in the morning after I wake up and have some coffee. I am never very productive, so I might as well browse Reddit, TikTok, Instagram, check my emails, and then start my day after that. Story 36. Depends on the rules of the time stop. What exactly stops? People? Animals? All atomic movement in the universe. How do I survive if time truly stops and it adheres to all the laws of physics? Story 37. Days feel like the perfect length. I don't need them any longer, but for goodness sake, I would nap so hard for an extra hour. Story 38. If I could divide my time to freeze it for a total of 1 hour throughout the day, I would likely sleep for an additional 45 minutes and save the remaining 15 minutes for emergencies. If that does not occur, I would get an extra 15 minutes of sleep that night. Story 39. Depends on how the time-freezing physics work. Suffocation and being thrown violently when the Earth's rotation stops are my biggest concerns. Story 40. I love quiet early mornings by myself. I would freeze time right before the sun comes up and everyone is still asleep. I do some extra yoga, breathe, enjoy the silence, and have an extra cup of coffee and some eggs before the world wakes up and I have to fulfill my duties. Just thinking about it makes me feel the bliss of early morning solitude. You can't beat it. Story 41. Move some of my wife's belongings around the apartment. Just a little bit. When time resumes, she'll ask why her knitting needles are over there now. It will drive her crazy. Story 42. Would stopping time also stop security cameras from recording? If you can freeze time and still do things like read and turn pages in a book, does that mean the cameras still record? I'm referring to digital cameras. If everything stops moving, do all the planes fall out of the sky? Does stopping time also stop gravity? Story 43. I will rearrange random items around people and probably take some expensive things from wealthy individuals. There's not much else to do, honestly. With time frozen, all food would be stone cold, and nothing would happen on social media, so it would be pointless. Story 44. I will go to Walmart and put many people in unusual situations, then watch the chaos unfold. Story 45. For anyone interested in this thought experiment, there is a great independent movie from 2006 called Cashback, where an insomniac discovers he has the ability to freeze time daily to explore the world in a surreal way. While it includes some mild nudity as he spends his initial time engaging in activities typical for a young adult, it explores deeper concepts and presents some intriguing ideas. Story 46. Stop time gradually, about 6 to 10 seconds with each use. Additionally, learn to expand lung capacity and hold my breath each time I use it. Story 47. I would use that extra hour for a mix of self-care and creativity, diving into a good book, meditating, and working on passion projects without interruptions. Story 48. I would likely use it to sleep, making the choice to utilize that time while still mostly asleep and frustrated with my alarm. I would gain that extra hour, but I would probably still wake up late. Story 49. Haha, everyone is talking about pantsing people and robbing banks, but my first thought was, I'll have extra time to play with my cat after work. Story 50. Of course, it will be regular personal enrichment, but you must ensure that regular people do not get in trouble for it. Getting money from the register or the armed security service will always somehow fall back on the employees. Even when stealing from the casino cashier, it will lead to trouble for them. That's why you go to a bank that uses automated money dispensers like automated teller machines, but with real tellers, and take some money when it is dispensed but not taken by the teller. You obviously do not do this when it is your turn, but when it is others. This way, the blame is shifted to the machines. If you are particularly clever, you do this at many different banks and obviously with different tellers. The alternative would be walking into the vault and taking money from there, but this is mostly movie talk as most bank vaults are closed and locked, so good luck getting in. Another option is stealing packages from the distribution center before they are linked and loaded to a specific person, which would mean they are lost in transit. I would then save a couple of minutes every day to ensure I can pause time in dangerous situations or help someone. Story 51. I would pause it as soon as I am done with work. That way, I can tidy up a little and take some time to drink a beer in silence, wind down, and center myself. Once the hour is over, I have had some time to myself, and I can spend the rest of the evening relaxing with my wife and dog. Story 52. If time is frozen, how do you discern the passing of an hour? Would that hour not also be frozen since it is itself time? Story 53. Take items. Nothing major, just food, some beverages, and enough cash to catch up on my bills. I don't want luxury items, nor do I want to be wealthy. I just want to relieve some pressure. Story 54. I would plan to do something productive but end up using it to get more sleep in the morning. Story 55. Rob's stash of cash and gold is significant. The biggest challenge would be traveling to and from the target without being seen on camera before time is stopped. Story 56. There are many things to consider. Never be late for work. Eat lunch without interruptions. Right some wrongs. Create some wardrobe malfunctions. Possibly find enough money to quit working altogether. Win poker games. Story 57. Is it one 60-minute freeze? Or can I do multiple shorter freezes? The latter works well for playing poker. Story 58. Sleep is essential. Even if I don't get to choose the hour, I need rest. I feel like I never get enough sleep, ever. Even just taking an hour to sit, drink a cup of coffee, and relax is important. Story 59. Do I age? Because this would add up. If I don't age, I would be using it to get more money by taking it from people's wallets. Story 60. I would probably relax and take some time for myself. Out of curiosity, would security cameras register any actions someone might take during this time? I'm asking for a friend. Story 61. I'd relax. It's like the midnight hours when you're completely free from responsibilities and others. Story 62. Every morning at 7 a.m., I would gently position my fiancée as the little spoon, freeze time, and enjoy an uninterrupted hour of holding her. I would close my eyes and drift off to sleep before the alarm goes off at 7:30 a.m. Story 63. Follow armored cars and wait for them to open the doors. Then stop time and get me some money easily. Story 64. I would like to believe that I would do something productive, such as learning a language or cleaning my house. However, I know very well that I would probably just browse the internet on my phone. Story 65. I can hug my daughter without her wriggling and crawling away. They never stay still at this age. Story 66. Definitely take items, like $100 from the bank one day, groceries the next day, gas the third day, and new shoes the fourth day. Nothing extravagant, but by the end of the week, I would have probably saved $500, and by the end of the year, I would have an extra $24,000 available. Story 67. I could really do some deep cleaning of a small area in our home every day. My wife would be so pleased. Story 68. Mostly small robberies. They are sufficient for some gain, but not enough to motivate a thorough investigation. Story 69. I would spend more time with my child, just snuggling with him on the couch watching a movie or holding him while he sleeps before putting him in his bed. I leave for work before he wakes up in the morning. When I come home, he is often cranky and ready for bed, so we do not get much time together before he falls asleep each day. Story 70. I dislike napping because it causes me to miss part of my day. I would love to take a nap for an extra hour, then continue with my day and spend time with my loved ones. My husband feels lonely when I nap, and I wish I could nap and then rejoin him without him even noticing. Story 71. The world would change. Putin and Netanyahu would be at The Hague within 2 months, and Trump would have lost his mind. Story 72. When I get this ability, I better be in Las Vegas, Atlantic City, Macau, or Monaco. You know where the casinos are. Story 73. Guerrilla gardening is unique. Any spare plot of land can be filled with native wildflower seeds. People would have no idea where it is coming from. Story 74. You could do so much with an extra hour. Slowly catch up on sleep and work. Try to learn new skills. You could also spend time with others. Personally, I would use extra time for drawing. Story 75. Assuming no unusual physics issues, I will get my weekly groceries. I imagine that missing cash would be noticed by a bank. This way, I can eat the evidence. Story 76. I would like to divide it into small 5-minute segments when the pressures of the day become overwhelming, and I am on the verge of responding unkindly or losing my temper. Being able to pause and gather my thoughts, or catch the glass of juice that a child has just tipped over at the edge of the table, would be wonderful. Story 77. I like how everyone talking about robbing banks has forgotten all the locks. Additionally, any major theft would attract significant government interest. $10 million vanished instantly on camera in a bank. You say, and you have the footage? Story 78. Rob a house every other day until I can afford to actually buy a house, as banks are too risky. Then, the next day, I can either get an extra hour of sleep or scout a good house to target. Story 79. I will probably work for a company that would find my skills useful. I am unsure which company, just not a government one. Additionally, they cannot replace me and I likely get paid well. Story 80. I would definitely take some items, mainly money and music equipment. I would also go to my old job and confront some of my former coworkers. Additionally, I would play pranks on random people on the street. Story 81. Casino. Observe the blackjack shoe and ensure I win 6 consecutive hands at the maximum bet. Do this repeatedly until I attract attention, then determine my next move. Story 82. Sleep or play video games. The most productive thing I would do is probably exercise, as I enjoy that. Story 83. This is the plot of the movie Cashback. I guess I could strip people naked in the supermarket and then make paintings out of them that I could sell for millions. Story 84. I would do it in small bursts whenever needed. For example, if you are in a fight and can freeze time for a couple of seconds, you can do that many times before your hour for the day is up. Story 85. Realistically, I will sleep because what else can I do? I can't see or hear because light and sound do not reach me. Story 86. I would take and switch dozens of people's cell phones every day, so when time started again, they would have to talk to a bunch of new people to get their phones back. This would either make the world a better place or lead to an increase in jealous partner homicides. Time will tell. Story 87. On Tuesdays when I have 4 classes, I would definitely pause time after my second class and take a quick nap to feel more energized for the last 2 classes. Story 88. This might sound absolutely crazy, but hear me out. I would work. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is challenging to deal with in the professional world, especially as an architect. More often than not, I need to end my workday before I finish all my tasks, and I never feel satisfied with what I've accomplished, even with medication, enough food, and plenty of sleep. Fortunately, I do experience periods of hyperfixation where I can complete large chunks of a task. However, these moments are fleeting, and before I know it, it's 6 o'clock, and I have other things to do, such as living my life. Being able to freeze time during a hyperfocused work period would allow me to feel much less guilty about enjoying life outside of work. Please tell me someone can relate. Story 89. I think about this a lot. Honestly, I would steal a large amount of cash, but I would use it for good, like buying medical or student debt and forgiving it. I would also buy myself my dream cars, a 1964 and a half Mustang, a 1987 Grand National GNX, and a DMC-12. Story 90. I want to know if I can commit crimes, and if I am not caught at the moment, will I get caught later for robbery or murder? What is the catch? Story 91. I do not want to steal, rob, or harm anyone, so I plan to use the extra hour each day to sleep more or finally dedicate some time to my hobbies. Since I have slightly more than 1 hour of commute every day, it feels as if I do not have a commute at all, so it is not bad. My only concern with the extra time is that if I cannot share it with my husband and pet, I would much prefer to spend the extra hour with them. Story 92. Drive to Walmart, freeze time, get the expensive items I need and some I don't, put them in my car, unfreeze time, and complete my regular grocery shopping. Walmart can afford it. The other day, I wasn't sure. I would save a lot with my first thought. Maybe I will just freeze time for a few minutes to slap my boss as hard as I can. Story 93. Steal money from everyone and from supermarkets what I need. When I make millions, I will start to buy small amounts of gold and silver and invest little by little. I will complain every day to my family and friends that I don't have money, but secretly have storage places all over the country. Story 94. Steal the Declaration of Independence and leave a note indicating where I took it. Repeat frequently. Story 95. I would become a secret graffiti artist and draw something small in public places that are hard to reach for street artists, and everyone would be surprised to discover my identity. Story 96. There is a strong incentive to go to various malls or shopping streets and steal people's cash. Just wear gloves and rummage through their wallets. Make sure you are in a location where people can witness your presence before creating an alibi. How could you steal from people if you were never there? Story 97. Freeze time at 23 hours 59 minutes and 59 seconds. 1 hour starts and ends. 0 seconds pass, and time freezes at midnight on the new day. Now I have 2 hours to get things done. Nefarious or otherwise, I have 1 hour for actions and the other hour for redundancy and protection to ensure I do not leave DNA or get caught magically reappearing in front of a closed-circuit television camera. Story 98. I would wait to lock eyes with a stranger, cross the street, pause time, and disappear when the buses come in front of me. Story 99. Some days I take some cash. I might copy down the credit card information of random individuals. Other days I use it to eliminate my commute. But mostly I use it to sleep in longer. Story 100. I would steal food and drinks from the store and live happily ever after. Like in paradise, 50% better than now. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.